Jefferson Elementary School. My name is Miss Diamond and I'm the Family and Consumer Sciences teacher over at Bryan Middle School. I heard that you guys have all been reading Charlotte's Web. Today I'm going to teach you 2 recipes to make to go along with your book. For our first recipe, we're going to make corn dog muffins. To do this, we're going to start by melting 1 stick or half a cup of butter. So I'll unwrap it and I'm going to put it in a microwave safe dish. If you go to make this recipe, ask an adult which of your bowls are microwave safe. In general, make sure you never put metal in the microwave. That one for sure is not microwave safe. My bowl here is microwave safe. So I've got my stick of butter inside and I'm going to put it in the microwave for only 10 seconds at a time. You never want to put it in more than that. You'll do 10 seconds and then check on it. 10 seconds, check until it is fully melted. So let's start. My butter is fully melted, but we're going to set it off to the side for right now. First, we're going to measure our dry ingredients. Our first one is sugar. You'll take a dry measuring cup, get a huge scoop of whatever it is. You can see I've got a big mountain on top. That's okay for now, but you'll want to take a butter knife and take the flat edge and knock all of that mountain back into your container, and then pour that in your bowl. Our next dry ingredient is baking soda. The baking soda is what's going to make our muffins nice and fluffy. So I'll take my measuring spoon, get a scoop like we did with our sugar, and level it off at the top and add that to our bowl. Next comes our cornmeal for our corn muffins. I'll get my dry measuring cup. Oh, it doesn't fit too well. For this recipe, I need 1 cup of cornmeal. We're gonna do a little math. Instead, so it fits better in my container, I'm gonna use my half cup and use it twice. So we'll get our half cup, get a scoop like we did with that sugar, and level it off. Pour it in. And now 1 more to get that full cup like our recipe asks for. Level it off, add it in. My next ingredient is flour. I'm gonna use that 1 cup measuring cup now. Get my big scoop like everything else with our mountain and level it off. Our last dry ingredient is our salt. So again, big mountain, level off, add. Before we add any of our liquid ingredients to this, we want to mix together our dry ingredients. I'm going to use a wooden spoon. I want you to pause and think. Why would I mix together all of my dry ingredients before I add in my liquid ingredients? Think about that while I mix. Did you think of an answer yet? If you said it's so all of the dry ingredients are able to mix all around so we don't have clumps of one thing here and clumps of another thing here, you're right. So now we're gonna move on to our liquid ingredients. This is my bowl from earlier. It's got our melted butter inside. Now we're gonna add to that. We're gonna start with our buttermilk. Our buttermilk gets measured in a liquid measuring cup. We will need 1 cup of buttermilk for our recipe. Perfect. We're gonna add it. Our last of our liquid ingredients are eggs. You need 2 of them. Whenever you add eggs when you're cooking, make sure to crack them into a separate bowl first. There's a couple of reasons for this. The first one is if you get any shells when you crack it in this bowl, they're just in here and you can pull them out. If they get lost in this big bowl, you could end up with an extra crunch when you go to eat. To crack your egg, you want to hit it flat against the counter, stick your fingers inside, and open. I have my egg separately in this container, but I can add it to this big container because there's no shells. The second reason we crack our eggs separately is in case you end up with a bad egg. It happens. Sometimes your eggs have just not done the right thing. If it's just in this container, if you find a bad egg, so it's super, super cloudy, you can throw it away and you haven't messed up all of what you're making. I'm gonna mix my liquid ingredients together, just like we did to the dry ingredients. For this, I'm going to use a whisk. This will help break apart all of those eggs and get them mixed in with everything else. Now that I have my dry and liquid ingredients ready, we can mix them together. I'm going to take my little bowl here and dump it into the big one. I'm going to use that wooden spoon from earlier and mix this all together. Now I'm going to scoop my mixture here into a muffin tin. You want to fill every muffin tin about halfway full. Now that all of my muffin tins are halfway filled, it's time to put the hot dogs in. All you need is a butter knife, and you're gonna cut your hot dogs into sections. I'm gonna cut my hot dogs all into thirds, which means I will make 2 cuts on each hot dog and end up with 1, 2, and 3 parts. I have all my hot dogs cut. Now I'm going to take them, set them on the muffins, and push down. I'll do that for all of them. Once I've put all of my hot dogs inside, Once I've put all of my hot dogs inside, I need a little bit more of my cornmeal mixture to cover them up. I'll just take a small scoop and put it over my hot dog like a blanket. Now my muffins are ready to go in the oven. When your muffins are done, you'll know because the top of each muffin is firm. Let these cool down a little bit and then enjoy. The first one we're gonna make is some corn dog muffins, and then we're gonna make some mini hand pies, cherry to be exact. Come along with me. For our cherry pies, we're gonna start by making a pie crust. Our first step is you're gonna take your cutting board and put your butter right on top. We need a 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1 stick. My first step is I'm gonna take my butter knife and I'm gonna slice up my butter into some thin strips. super chilly. So we're gonna put our butter in the freezer while we do some of our other steps. For our next step, we're gonna use our mixing bowl and add in our flour and our salt. For our flour, we're gonna use a dry measuring cup, and we wanna get a big scoop of flour. You want a huge mountain on top. But that's not how you measure with the dry measuring cup. You need to take a knife and make some X's in the middle. After that, take the smooth edge of your knife and you are gonna knock all that extra flour right on off. With our dry measuring cup, we want it to be exactly even at the top. And then you can add that to your mixing bowl. For our pies, we need 1 1/4 cup of flour. So I'll do that again with my 1/4 dry measuring cup. Now it's time to add in our salt. Our salt, we'll use a measuring spoon. And just like the flour, you want to get a big scoop that overflows. Then you'll take that smooth edge of your knife again and knock off all your extra. Then you can add it to your bowl. Now that I have my salt and my flour in my bowl, I want to use a wooden spoon and I'm going to mix those two together. Now we've got our butter back out of the freezer and we're going to start to add it to our flour and salt. For this, you're going to use a tool called a pastry blender. If you don't have one of these, you can also use 2 regular forks. What I'm going to do is take a couple of my pieces of butter and put them in my bowl. Then I'm going to take my pastry blender or my forks and I'm going to mush those together into the flour. After all of your butter is mixed together, you're going to want to add your water. When adding water to your pie crust, there are 2 things you need to remember. First is that it needs to be super cold, so mix your water with some ice. The second thing is that you only want to add it 1 tablespoon at a time. If the recipe calls for 1/4 cup, you will need 4 tablespoons of water. When you're done adding your water, your dough should be able to stick together in a little disc. Just like we put our butter in the freezer, our pie dough needs to chill down a little bit. So we're gonna take our pie dough we made and put it on a piece of saran wrap. Then we'll pull up our edges and wrap him up nicely. You're gonna put your pie dough in the fridge for about an hour. Okay, my friends, our pie dough sat in the fridge for about an hour, so now it's time to start rolling it out. The first thing you're gonna do is make sure your kitchen counter is super clean. You can also do this part on a cutting board. What I'm gonna start with is flouring my surface. All that is you'll take some flour just like we used for our dough, and you're gonna sprinkle it all over your counter. This part is gonna get really messy, but the one rule with getting messy is it's okay as long as you clean up after. So now I've got a nice floured surface, the flour's all spread out, and I'm gonna take my pie dough out of our plastic wrap from earlier. And I'm gonna set it right down on top of the flour. Then I'll take a little more flour and I'm gonna rub it on the top so it gets all smooth. I'm gonna take my rolling pin here, and even that gets flour rubbed on it. Then I'll grab both sides of my rolling pin. I'm gonna roll out my pie crust. My pie crust is getting super long and skinny. So I'm gonna take it and turn it and keep rolling. When you roll out your pie crust, you always want to put your rolling pin down in the middle and roll out from there. One more time, it's so long and skinny. I'm gonna give it a turn. For my pies I'm making today, I'm going to make rectangles. I'm going to take a pizza cutter and I'm going to trim those edges off. I'll move all of those scraps out of the way. And now we're gonna cut this so we can make 4 pies. With each pie, however, we need 2 pieces. So I'll start by cutting in half here, and half again, and each of those in half. So I have 8 pieces that will make 4 pies. For my next step, I want to take a baking sheet pan and put a piece of parchment paper on top. Then I'm going to use a spatula and pick up the pieces of my pie. I've got 4 pieces down. Remember, we need to save these for later. They're our tops. I have my 4 pie bottoms ready to be filled. I'm gonna make cherry pies today. You can buy pre-made filling at the grocery store. So I'll take a scoop of my pie filling, put it right inside. When you go to fill your pies, you want to make sure to leave a little frame on the outside because that's how we're going to get our tops to stick. First thing I want to do is scoop my top on to each of my little pies here. Now that each of my pies has a top on it, I'm going to take a regular fork and I want to press the edges together. So I'll go along the edges and press my fork down. This is going to seal our pie up so none of our filling comes out when it bakes. When you've pressed down all of the edges of your pies, they should look something like this. It's okay if you get a little bit messy. Our next step with our pies is we need to cut slits in the top of them. Otherwise they'll explode in the oven, but not a cool explosion. It would be bad. So you'll take that fork again and you're just gonna create a couple holes in the top. You can also use a knife for this. And if you'd like, you could even write your initial to make your hole in the top. To finish off our pies, we need to put egg on top of them. I know it sounds silly. To do that, you'll crack your egg against the counter into a bowl. Then those shells can go in the garbage. And you're gonna do what's called beating the egg. It's just a fancy word for mixing. To do this, you can use a regular fork. Once our egg is all mixed, we're going to use what's called a pastry brush. It's just like a paintbrush for the kitchen. And we are going to paint our pies. So get some egg on it and paint your pies. Your egg is gonna get your pies all nice and crispy. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top of each pie to give it that extra little bit of sweetness. So you can just get a little bit of sugar on a spoon and lightly put it on top. Now our pies are ready to go in the oven. Our recipe tells us our pies should go in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes. When you cook or bake, you always want to start with the lowest number because you can always add more time, but once it's cooked, we can't take any of that time off. You'll know your pies are done when they're golden brown on the top. You'll take them out of the oven and let them cool before you get to enjoy. Thank you so much for learning along with me today, Jefferson Elementary School. I can't wait to see you all in the future at Bryan. Have an awesome day.